Okay, so people often criticize me for playing what they think is a game, or they say that's a crap game, or that's a shit game, or they'll say something, and I don't play games. I think I need to explain this. Generally speaking, games are about duality. Duality is confrontation. It is a battle between good and evil. It creates karmic feedback. Okay, you're gonna say no. If you're playing a game, it's just a game. It's not real. Wrong. It isn't just a game, because you see, there's a psychic element, there's a spiritual element to everything you do in this life. Let me try to explain it. Every time somebody plays a game, if they're shooting at somebody, people often have, it's because of hate. And hate usually is associated with a real person or a real event or a real situation. So people will play games in order to get that anger, that hate out of their system on what they say is an inanimate or non-real thing. But they're actually sending that energy out, negative energy out, and it's directed maybe into a computer game, but at the same time, in the back of their mind, the reason why they're angry, or the reason why they're attacking the person in the game, is because they've got a deep-seated hatred or anger directed against somebody in their past, or somebody they might cross the street in. Somebody, they might have driven their car and somebody pulled it in front of them, and they're angry because of that. So they're getting their anger out in the game, but it's energy they're sending out at that person who they encountered in real life. So this is duality. This is dual. You know, dual. This is what duality is. It's confrontation. It's so if you play games, if the game is purely for fun and there is no animosity, there is no anger, there's no hate directed towards any person, that's a different story. But it's too easy to fall into the trap. It's too easy, because one day, you might be 10 days you're playing a game and there's no problem, you're not sending energy out. But then the one day when you have a bad encounter that particular day, with somebody you met in the street who was rude to you, you might visualize them in your mind while you're shooting somebody in a game, and you're actually sending that hate to that person, right? You follow. Now, if you're not a spiritual person, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You won't know, because I'm a healer. I'm a spiritual healer. I have sent positive energy to people to help people with pain and things. So I know how bad it is if you send out negative energy. That energy is going to come back and get you, right? Trust me, it will. It might not happen instantly, although we are entering the times of instant karma, which is coming pretty soon. It might not happen instantly, but then the very next day you might have an encounter where something happens to you and it makes you even more angry, and then you go back to your game and then you're playing your game again. Oh, I'm sick of it. So you're doing the same thing. You're trapped in a vicious loop. you keep sending out that hate, and it keeps coming back at you, and then you wonder why your life sucks, right? So what you send out energy-wise, spiritual sense, even if you're not a spiritual person, you might not believe it, you might think it's a whole bunch of hooey and bullshit. Doesn't make no difference. If your life sucks, you've got to stop and ask yourself, why does your life suck? What is it you're doing wrong, right? If you're doing something in your life that's creating karma, then stop doing it. Is it so difficult to figure it out? There was these things where people go down this. All our lives we've been brainwashed with movies and stuff, and there was that thing in a movie a few years back. Oh, I forgot the name of it now. Kick the Can. What was it? It's an old game. Kick the Can, and people go kicking this can down the street. Everywhere you look, we're being fed this negative energy to do negative things, and we don't understand what the deep-seated root of that thing is all about, but it's to put us on a dark path. You've got to get out of that, because as long as you're on that dark path, life sucks. It really does. I get depressed, right? I get depressed because people are sending me all this hate and all this negativity and all this shit, and most of it bounces off me, but it's sometimes I feel like I'm in a freaking swamp, up to my neck in it, right? But the other part of it is my medication. That gets me down as well, because it's a side effect of the medication I'm on. So, but depression is not the same thing as walking down the street and all of a sudden car pulls in front of you, or something bad happens to you in your actual physical life, or your credit card stopped working, or you miss the bus, or you got a flat tire. That's all different. That's karmic stuff, stuff that happens to people, and you say, oh no, that happens everybody, it happens to everybody. But if you'd driven 1 inch further to that way when you're driving your car, you wouldn't have driven over the frigging nail, would you? Karma is a bitch, and it will make you drive over the freaking nail. Trust me. I was riding my moped back in the 78. I think. Was it 78 when I first got my moped? I drove the same moped, same bike, for 40 years. I think it was. No, hang on. Let me think. I got rid of it around 1998, 1999, or was it 2000? I don't know, what was it? No, it was about 2004, I think it was. And I've driven that bike all my life, well, a lot of my life, right? And guess what? I never had a puncture. I went all over on it. I never had a puncture. Oh, I had a bad tyre once. I had to change the tyre on it, right? Because the tyre wore out. I've had things like that, but that's just wear and tear, And the engine wore out. I had to get a new engine because it wore out, because it had been around the clock about half a dozen times. But then one day, I think it was pretty close to the end when I stopped riding it, when I did get karma. Somebody pulled out right in front of me, and it was a near miss, and I almost drove into the back of this car, and I had to ask myself, what did I do to deserve that? What did I do? I must have done something, and I probably did do something to deserve it. And that's when I started to ask questions. That's when I started to tread the spiritual path, because I was fairly spiritual and unchallenging, duality type person anyway. But then I had to ask the question, what did I do to get that? And I wasn't sure what it was, but yeah, there was something I did do that caused that, because it just come back at you, right? Anyway, another reason I had to get rid of it is because I had nowhere to park it when I moved to this place. I've got no shed, and I didn't really need it anyway. Don't really need it anymore. My gran had passed away. I used to use it to go to see my granny. You see, she was many miles and miles away. When she passed away, there was no reason to travel anywhere, so it became redundant. With all the shops being local, I thought, well, what's the point anyway? I don't really need it, and it was just a bit of a thorn in my side. I loved it in a way. It had a lot of fond memories because of all the days that I went out to see my grandma on it, and it gave me some freedom, but then I came to the conclusion that I had to let go of it. And I kept having dreams about it. Years and years after I got rid of it, I kept having dreams about it. I had these fearful dreams of somebody vandalised in it, and found it. I had these dreams where I'd see it in bits in the middle of a field, and I thought, what the hell's going on here? Why am I dreaming about my frigging moped? Well, it was only a moped really, it was 50cc. Why do I keep dreaming about it? I let it go, I sold it, it's gone. Why do I keep dreaming about it? And then I realised it was fear. It was fear. That fear that I had years ago when I used to ride it, and about fear of having an accident, and I started to realise that you've got to let go of fear, because fear is a bitch as well. It will come and bite you in the ass, So eventually I meditated on it, and I said, I let you go. I let you go. You are no longer a part of my life, motorbike. It sounds so funny, doesn't it? You are no longer a part of my life. You are gone. You're in the past. And I hadn't dreamed about it since then. Until recently, but it wasn't in bits. I dreamt about it recently. I told you it was a prophetic dream I had recently, where my motorbike magically appeared, but it was all in one piece. It wasn't in bits. It was a one piece. It was a different sort of dream. It wasn't a dream of fear based. It was something else. It was where I can remember it quite vividly actually. I was in this hall, and there was this strange guy there. I don't know who he was, but he brought me my bike, my old bike, my old Honda. And I said, oh, you found it? In the dream, I said, oh, you found it? Oh. And he was talking about it somewhere, and I'm looking at it, and it looks a bit smaller than what it used to do for some reason. It just looked a bit tinier. I thought, it's not quite right. Something is wrong with it. It's very small compared to what it used to be. And all of a sudden, he disappeared, and my bike disappeared as well with him. But I wasn't sad. But then these military people turned up at the door outside. There was all these helicopters flying over, these black helicopters and everything else. And this guy comes up to me, and they asked me questions about this guy that had my bike and that. And I said, and I said, well, he was there, and then he's just vanished. And the sergeant looks at the other sergeant. The sergeant looks at the other officer and says he used the device. And so there was something in that. I don't know what it means. I have no idea. There was no date stamp on it or anything like that. I have no idea what it means. But basically, there was somebody that used some sort of technology to dematerialize, and the military were looking for him. And that's all I know. I don't know anything more about it. It was just weird. It was like in a setting of I don't know what the setting was. It was like kind of high up, and the street was low down. It was like, I don't know. I remember bits of it, but now, because as I said, I talked about this dream previously, this prophetic dream I had. But anyway, I got off subject. So what I'm talking about is duality. I'm playing games, It was a different scenario when I was playing that zombie thing in the second life. That was different because I didn't engage that. It was the guy in there. He materialized as zombies the first time, and I had no animosity towards these zombies at all. In fact, I felt kind of sad for them. You know, I thought, oh, I felt some pity for them. You know, but at the same time, they were already dead, right? So I didn't have any. There was no association with these zombies to any physical person, living or dead, right, in my mind. So I didn't mind blowing them away because they were already dead. Well, that was a different situation, and it was a one-off situation. And I recorded this. I did it, actually, it was a two-off. Because I asked him to do it again so I could record it the second time because I didn't record it the first time. So I recorded it the second time because I thought it was funny, and my daughter thought it was funny as well. My daughter, she loved it. So I thought if it's entertaining, that's fine, because I had no animosity towards these zombies, but they weren't even real anyway. They were just, and there was no association between these zombies and any physical person who I would regard as being a zombie. So, but it's easy to cross that line. It's so easy to start sending out that dark energy towards somebody else that's physically alive and walking around. And when you start doing that, that's when your life starts to go downhill. Trust me, I know. There's a lot of people on the internet who will tell you about what do you call it? The law of attraction. It's called the law of attraction. Go and look it up. Go and look at the law of attraction. What you get back is what you put out, right? That's what it's about. So if you focus on something dark and sinister, then you're going to attract that energy back. So you got to be careful. Anyway, I'm enough around. Oh my God, 17 minutes. Oh my God, I'm really talking. So I'm going to go because I'm drinking my Coke. It's the same bottle of Coke I was drinking in the first video. I think it was the other video. Or was it this video? I can't remember. See, I'm probably remembering things now. See you later. Bye.